Hey, welcome back. Here we are, Mixed Apes.
Hi guys, hi boys, hi girls.
He's Reed, I'm Race. We've been through all that before.
We've done that.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Welcome back.
Episode 10. We're doing episode 10, kids.
Can you believe it? The 10th, what did you say it is? The tin?
It's the aluminum and tin anniversary. Is number
aluminum
10,
and tin anniversary.
I think. I'm probably wrong, obviously.
Yeah.
We are getting ready to take you into our 10th episode. We have lots of wonderful stuff to share.
So much 10th anniversary stuff, you can't believe it. It's going to be like a regular episode, actually. Anyway, this is our 10th episode. So, this episode,
we are looking at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah. Maybe we'll touch on everybody and just name everybody.
Hold on. So, here's the thing. I hear some BS from people, and I would have agreed with them not very long ago.
So, we're going to check out that list and talk about that a little bit.
We have our Prime Cut segment.
Right. Oh, thank you. I'll say right now, the clue I've been given is I've been a bad, bad girl.
And I want you to know that I picked that especially just to hear. And other just random chatter,
Random stuff. We've got a little housekeeping, which we're calling Nestkeeping.
You're calling it Nestkeeping.
I'm calling it Nestkeeping because apes nest.
Do they?
You did not know that. So it is
actually
the appropriate term for our weird correlation with apes.
Absolutely. So let's get into the episode. What do you say?
Yeah, here we go.
Nestkeeping.
Nestkeeping.
You want to keep some nest here?
I want to keep some nest, which is going to be some corrections that we have.
And a couple shout-outs.
And
I think I'm going to start shout-outs first.
Yeah, okay.
And the very first people I want to shout out are our spouses.
Oh, what a good thought. Thanks for getting the points on that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm getting them and you're not.
He mentioned it, but we were talking about it earlier, and I'm the one who came up with it, girls.
Sure, yeah. At any rate, they've both been phenomenal in dealing with the time constraints, the invasions into their homes, the changes in their schedules.
Distraction from getting our otherwise responsibilities and duties done.
Yes, exactly. So, to my lovely wife, thank you so much for your tolerance for these first 10 episodes. Of course, I'm not thanking you for the upcoming episodes yet. We'll do that again later.
Right. Yes, there will be ongoing occasional thanks to our lovely supportive partners and wives. Without them,
this wouldn't
let's
be
start giving our speech for the
Podcast
Grammy Award.
You can't say Podcast Grammy Awards. That's not a thing.
Podcasting.
There may be
for the Casty. When we get a Casty, when we get our potty award.
You are broken.
Okay, what's our next shout out?
Well, for me, it's been like the family and friends that I've been bouncing stuff off of. My sister Paula has been amazing in filling me in when she hears something or doesn't hear something, etc. She did mention that she didn't get any notifications on her podcast platform for a previous episode.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And we need to everybody make sure your notifications are turned on for your podcast app if you want to get known. If for some reason you want to get notified.
Right, if you want to know when the next episode's coming out. It's an important component. But it is kind of an important little thing to, make us aware of if you notice it.
Yeah, certainly. Please leave a comment somewhere on your podcast platform, for example, or on the website, whatever, if you didn't get notified and you expected to.
Technical glitches, any of that stuff, we'll get it taken care of. I have a shout out. Can I shout out?
Shout.
I'm not actually going to shout, but I want to shout out to Brian, Kelly, and Abby because I've gotten a lot of good supportive feedback, some ongoing sort of keep at it, you guys are doing great kind of things, and a little bit of critical input, which is always helpful and always welcome. So, as one group, I appreciate them for sending the information in.
And all of my kids have been, as far as corrections and hey, you missed this, or maybe you guys should try that, or whatever, right. or we're loving it, or whatever the case may be, and their spouses. I mean, I've got people again. All the kids and all their spouses are pretty much reaching out, going, "Hey, here's what's going on."
Right.
We can't hear it. To us, it just sounds like us. So.
Yeah, I've had some cousins and some in-laws and family members do the same, sending, "Hey, I just listened to this episode and heard this, and that was great, and we talked about it." So. We also want to, of course, shout out to all the mixed apes out there who are listening in and hopefully enjoying it. We assume if you're
some of
listening
you
in
are
again.
sharing with friends. I did have a listener that I know through work tell me that a woman named Joy that I know listened to an episode with her daughter and the family, kind of as we're sitting around something to do.
Right.
And she was a little nonplussed that her daughter got all of the clues, like was picking them off, boom, boom, boom. So anyway.
So she's got to study. She's got to study up.
Got to keep up with her daughter. Again, we're getting some really cool feedback.
Yeah, yeah. And we now have multiple listens in a lot of cool countries that we never really expected to see. So,
yeah, it's kind of weird, man.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to look at, which probably isn't all that novel to anybody who's familiar with podcasts, but for us two idiots, we're like, hey, look at that. Pakistan. Hey, look at that. So,
Yeah.
Shout out to people in all the countries who are listening now and will.
We had
theoretically.
We had Scotland and Great Britain and
South Africa, Thailand,
Pakistan,
Switzerland,
Russia.
Yeah,
Russia.
Weird.
Very weird. Very weird. But very cool. Very cool. But
it's just weird to us. It's probably not weird at all. I mean,
yes.
People are out on the web in the millions at any moment just clicking on something they see. So
yeah.
It could be that, or it could be...
But if there's more than one click, you think that maybe it's not an accident, right?
That's what we think maybe is happening. So welcome to all of you and...
around the world.
Hey, if we got a correction from another country or a suggestion or a comment...
That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. And also, probably we're overblowing it like we do the fact that other countries are listening. But for us, hey, exciting.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Right. So are we done with... we're done with the shout-outs, but you have some corrections you wanted to do, right?
I do have a couple of corrections. And I got to say, to preface the corrections, we plan on, because literally every episode there's something that deserves a correction shout-out. So please send them in if you hear them. But it's really actually, for me, one of the most enjoyable things to think of for somebody
to wrong?
Send in. I know that's stupid to say, but... I don't know why I get such a kick out of it when people send in or say, hey, you said this and it was actually that. It just, maybe it's because it tells me they're listening. I don't know, but I'm like,
you need validation.
But then you get into a conversation about it. You know what I mean? It sparks a little conversation. So maybe that's what the fun is. Anyway, first thing I wanted to bring up is that in an episode recently aired, and I can't remember which one right now, but it doesn't really matter. The song Drift Away, which is a thoroughly well-known song. Dobie Gray most notably recorded it, had a hit with it. I mentioned that the song was written by Mentor Williams, and then I got confused with the fact that John Henry Kurtz was the initial person to record it. And I think I know I said that John Henry Kurtz was the writer. He was not the writer of the song. Mentor Williams was the writer of the song. John Henry Kurtz recorded it first. So wanted to straighten that out. And then a more recent observation, I mentioned that Race and I were pitching back and forth about the band Sublime. He had dropped a lyric challenge on one of their songs. And in talking about how much I like Sublime, I mentioned, I really like something to the effect of placing them as an early 2000s band. And I was corrected that, in fact, their bandship ended in 95 with the death of Bradley Nowell. I'm sorry, 96. So
a correction to your correction.
A correction to my correction. They were not an early 2000s band, although, again, every time I hear Sublime, I hear them as fairly fresh. You know what I mean? So it's really disorienting mentally. So, yeah, those are the two corrections I had.
I'm going to say I don't have any, but not because I wasn't wrong, but just because I
didn't track any down.
I haven't caught myself yet. Yeah.
That's fine because we've taken up more than enough time prior to actually getting to the show.
Let's do that. So I think we're gonna start, as we said, with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this is going to be
folks.
Encapsulated in, is encapsulated the right word?
I'm not sure.
This is going to be contained in our uncontrolled substance segment because we're not challenging each other. It's not a game. It's a topic that we're going to spin off about for a little bit here. So for those of you who don't know, who aren't aware, the nominations and voting for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees is underway. And as far as we can discern, it'll be going through the end of April. Is that not what we...
I think what we saw is, the 25th or the 26th, something like that, is
right.
How the fan votes are going on.
Fan votes, right. The voting for fans to get into
You're not voting for fans.
Right.
Fans can vote.
There are no fans. I mean,
I'm sorry.
So the voting goes through toward the end of April there, and the list of potential, I guess, inductees is out. And we kind of wanted to go over that list a little bit, at least with regard to the players who pertain to our show, I guess.
Well, I think we probably...
maybe we'll touch on everybody and just name everybody.
Hold on. So, here's the thing. I hear some BS from people, and I would have agreed with them not very long ago, that, that's not a rock and roll act. Why should they be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I know where you're going with this. Uh-oh.
And the truth is...
Settle in, folks.
Well, no, I'm not going to go nuts.
Go ahead.
But, the truth is, when an artist for example, Rod Stewart, who comes from rock and roll, he may have gotten more pop later in his years, but he was a rock and roll singer early on, right?
Yes.
When he's doing
and rock and roll, legitimately rock and roll.
When he's doing R&B tunes or standards, he's making it rock and roll, right? I mean, so some people were up in arms about Dolly Parton or a given hip hop artist or a given R&B artist or whomever being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I get the argument, but the truth is, rock and roll.
It's under the umbrella.
And where did rock and roll come from, right? Blues and R&B is pretty much where it all started. Right. So I think
rock and roll isn't British invasion only. It isn't, American metal only. It isn't,
it's pretty all encompassing. So initially, I was on that same band. I'm like, what the hell are they doing there? Yeah. But the truth is, you look at the stuff that we talk about, and it's largely rock and roll. There's some R&B in there. We've talked about Willie. We've talked about other
gotten some country artists.
But again, there's been stuff that stuff crosses over all the time.
And one of the, looking at the list, one of the people. Well, first off, this is possibly more personal, but Mary J. Blige is unquestionably rock and roll. If you know some Mary J. Blige stuff, you know that she's a rocker. In her genre, she's a rocker.
Sure.
So it's rock and roll by default, right? It's under the umbrella.
And the thing is, define it how you want, and no matter who you are, you're going to be right and you're going to be wrong.
Right. Somebody's going to have a counter argument.
Right. Exactly.
But again, from my perspective, Mariah Carey. Yeah, so she's pop. She's a pop singer, but pop is considered pop rock, which is under the umbrella of rock and roll.
Yeah, well, and again, label it how you want. I think that's the thing, is the labels kind of get in the way.
Pop, soul, R&B, exactly.
Right.
It's all.
If it was strictly, it's not like baseball or football where there's just one thing going on, right?
It's not just baseball. It's sports. It's a sports umbrella, and all those things.
Right. Yeah. So again, we got. Peter Frampton is
among them.
Up for induction, or not up for induction. Well, I don't know how to phrase it. He's being voted on. How's that?
Right, he's on the inductee list.
Right.
So he's up for potential induction.
Potential induction. That's what we're looking for.
Splitting hairs. But hey, we do that. Foreigner is on the list. Ton of material there. Long history.
Lots of hits.
Yeah, lots of hits.
And some of that was more pop than rock, but still.
All right, yeah. So I was, in researching this, looking around on the web and whatever, and there are a number of sites and what have you can reference for information on the 2024 nominees list and whatnot. But on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame site proper, in the 2024 nominees list, there's a paragraph that explains to be eligible for nomination, individual artist or band must have released its first commercial recording at least 25 years prior to the year of nomination. Without going, any further into that, 10 out of the 15 nominees are on the ballot for the first time.
So they've been around at least 20. They've been producing music for at least 25 years.
They've been 25 years in, and this is the first time they're being nominated.
Sure.
Which, is a little surprising. And I think probably among the surprisings is we just mentioned Peter Frampton. Seeing Ozzy Osbourne on there for the first time was
as a solo act.
As a solo artist.
Because he's already in as a member of
But still hard to, and frankly, probably because I'm an American and not as knowledgeable, Oasis is on there, and I did not realize Oasis has been producing music for 25 years.
That could very well be.
It could be that in their, home country or in Europe in general, they've been, more known, and only more recently in the United States. But I'm only familiar with them as the past 10 years or so.
Sure. But that could be your old man thing about changing times.
That's old man. That's old man, not being into the streaming thing as much. Maybe I haven't had as much exposure, but I do listen to, some college radio and that kind of thing mixed in. So anyway, nonetheless, on with the list.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, as you said, Peter Frampton, Foreigner, Sinead O'Connor, Eric B. and Rakim, whom I'm not very familiar with.
Well,
you had more. You said you had some
familiarity, but they're a little even ahead of my time on, what R&B and rap I've indulged in and enjoyed in my life. But another nod to going to this list on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame website, there is a paragraph or two
about each act,
blurb about each act, a little bit about their history, their influences, that kind of thing, and their genre and the impact they've had on it. So that website, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, don't like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm not promoting them in particular, but the reading is good on the website about these acts and their contribution. And there's just a few paragraphs. It's a good compact reading of their, of the reasons, some of the basis for them being in and some of their impact, but also a small list of discography and that kind of thing.
Sure.
So good to go and check out if you're interested.
Absolutely. We've also got the Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Cher. You mentioned Mariah Carey already.
Right.
Cool in the Gang.
Right.
I can't go wrong with Cool in the Gang, regardless of what we're talking about.
Lenny Kravitz. Yes, Sade. You can't go wrong with Sade,
I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Sade.
You're a big Sade fan.
My wife as well.
And the wonderful, fabulous Tribe Called Quest. Hard for me to imagine anybody in the world who hasn't been impacted by Tribe Called Quest
or at least heard it and not enjoyed it, right? I mean,
right. Yeah, fantastic.
Jane's Addiction. I thought that was pretty cool, and it's hard to believe that's
hard to believe
25 years ago.
Years of Jane's Addiction.
Again,
we're old, and it sort of gets fuzzy before about 2005.
at the most recent.
Yeah.
All right, so we got everybody, right? We talked about Lenny. We talked about Frampton and Foreigner. That's the whole list?
That's the whole list there.
All right, so have you got anything you want to say about any of them? Yes, no?
Well, I got something I want to say about a lot of them. Dave Matthews Band, just for a minute.
They owned a chunk of the radio for a while. I mean, I'll give you that.
A huge chunk of the radio, but they're also like and I'm using this term made up on the moment out of my head, a near Grateful Dead touring jam band. You know what I mean?
Same kind of thing. Not comparing them to the Grateful Dead.
Not comparing, but there are a lot of bands, Fish and Widespread Panic and some of these other bands who, have been very successful and very well received. Multiple show sellouts in a row for doing long shows, heavy touring, jamming a lot during their shows, very popular following, people going to see them, hundreds of shows in a row, that kind of thing.
Right.
And Dave Matthews, intentional or not, is among those kind of bands, among other things. But unlike some of the other bands just mentioned, not to short them, has had massive, airplay success and a lot of hits and, Grammys and that kind of thing. So kind of just wanted to, I guess, give a nod. He doesn't need it. They don't need it. But they're a fantastic band, fantastic musicians, all of them very accomplished, and, their music shows it. So kudos to them. They certainly deserve to be in if they're past the 25-year mark, in my opinion. What about you? Who would you pick on?
I think I'm not picking on anybody, but I think Frampton, and Frampton's Camel, that's got to be 72 maybe, right?
Certainly more than 25 years.
Right, that's where I was going.
Certainly
kind of,
way more.
Yeah, whether, and I certainly am not qualified by any means to say anybody should or shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or get a Grammy or any of that. Well, you believe you are. But longevity, I mean, and like we know the Camels, the Frampton's Camel stuff, and then we know, of course, the 76 live album thing that Frampton Comes Alive that everybody knows. But I mean, there's there's a couple dozen albums and production credits and
other bands. He was in
other bands,
Hoople, that kind of thing.
I mean, and the stuff that he's done as a guest artist with dozens and dozens of artists.
Dozens of artists, yeah. And it's a little bit of a ricochet thought here off of your topic, but I was thinking while you were talking, because, once again, not listening to you, instead just drifting off.
I'm used to that. Go ahead.
That it's got to be funny it seems like it's got to be funny for Peter Frampton to still hear, like, Do You Feel Like We Do? And I Love Your Way, out and about playing, like in the elevator, in the department store, whatever. Sure. You still hear it's one of the songs those are a couple of the songs that are still on regular rotation when you go to Walmart, when you're walking through Home Depot.
Yeah.
It's funny to think about it. And how old are those songs? 40 years old? More?
You want to say 50.
50 years
right?
old?
Yeah, mid-70s.
And they're still among the sort of common public awareness sort of songs. You know what I mean?
Right?
It's really,
it is wild,
really funky.
Man.
It's freaky.
And the same could be said of Foreigner.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've talked at length about Foreigner in the past.
Yeah.
Ad nauseum, probably, but excuse me.
As we do, as is part of the show.
But again, I mean, I think I just heard Urgent on the radio 2 days ago.
Right. Right. Still.
And again, that's the same period. It might be a couple years after Frampton comes alive.
Yeah.
But it's going to be 77, 78, 79, in there somewhere.
And a lot of albums since, and a lot of hits off of a lot of albums for a very long time.
Yeah.
Radio hits.
And I mean, Foreigner's one of those bands for me. They're a rock and roll standard. They're not one of my faves. There's a couple of tunes I really like. Certainly, I can't question anybody's musical ability, but, I mean, the thing is, they were a little poppy for me. But, man, there's like you said, 10, 12 albums that all had hits on them over the course of 10, 12 years.
Think of Hot Blooded and Urgent, like you said, and Jukebox Hero and some of the, there's some pretty cool songs in the mix. Absolutely.
I'd be interested in knowing not just, like, for example, Cher, okay? Right. Obviously, it's well more than 25 years that she's been doing stuff. But, like, has she been up for nomination before? How many times? Like, how recently? When did it start? Right. Because, I mean, like, her first acts came out when I was like 7 years old. Right. And I'm over 60. Right.
And Sonny and Cher's, career as a duet. I couldn't think of the word duet as an act. In context of her overall career was not
it was long. Minutes of her career.
Of her overall career. So, it's another one of those kind of like Peter Frampton, been around doing the solo thing for a very long time with a pretty big impact.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Why now?
I mean, she may have had a residency in Vegas for 25 years for all I know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And well-deserved. Anyway, you probably want to say a thing or two about Sade. You would probably want to shout out to Sade.
That was really sad.
I know.
I mean, and since the first album,
Right.
There are a handful of voices of the course of me listening to music as a kid and as an adult that are just, they stand alone, okay?
Super identifiable.
Aretha, Nat King Cole, more in rock and roll, Paul Rogers, that just like those voices they represent, right? And
you never mistake them for somebody else.
No,
ever.
exactly.
Not any tone or any, right.
Sade, her voice is in that list for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She could sing the phone book to me. That'd be fine. Right? I'd be okay with that. And the thing is, like some pretty substantial socially conscious stuff, that she's done musically. And how many albums?
Right. That was kind of surprising to me. I didn't follow Sade as closely as you have, but I've always enjoyed her and appreciated her. And a number of her songs, rattle around my head with some regularity, but I had no idea really
of the sheer volume.
She has been producing, and again, maybe it's because popularity in sort of her home country and other regions or something, but I did not know that she had a huge
catalog. A global following.
global following and a huge catalog, which is great.
Tribe Called Quest, you want to do that one? That's you.
Tribe Called Quest. So Tribe Called Quest hasn't made music in a while, but man, the impact on, actually I was reading The impact on R&B, hip hop cannot be overstated. Just cannot be overstated. The thing that I want to get in here real quick.
Yeah, take your time.
Once again, as is going to happen with some frequency because it's just a fact of my life. My older brother, one of my older brothers, really sort of tripped the switch on Tribe Called Quest. And, I immediately was like, what is that? I got to hear some more of it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It was just, it was great. There's a quote in here on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame website from that, part of it reads, within 4 years, the group released 3 albums now recognized as among the best. People's instinctive travels in the paths of rhythm, the low end theory, and Midnight Marauders. There's a quote. It was listening to NWA's Straight Outta Compton that inspired us to make the low end theory, said Q-Tip. And then another quote, years later, I spoke to Dr. Dre and he told me that hearing low end theory inspired him to make the Chronic album. So, that's huge impact, and you can't,
in both directions.
Right. You can't say enough about it. It's that, they just, not only did they do something super unique, but as is referenced in this blurb about them on the website, they also took hip hop in a different direction, and in a different direction than maybe has been taken since, being a little socially conscious and a little more peaceful sort of approach to things. I don't know how to.
I'm not sure.
How to word it.
I hear what you're saying. I don't know that you've conveyed it as well as you can.
Right. But anybody who knows them knows what I'm talking about. They took a different approach to it, and I personally appreciate it. Anyway, they're great. Listen to some Tribe Called Quest. It's worth the time, worth the effort. There.
So more along the lines of the stuff that we're generally paying attention to and talking about, Jane's Addiction. I mean,
yeah.
The era that we both kind of came of age in listening to
alternative music scene and what have you. They were a big part of the alternative music scene.
At any rate, I couldn't name the albums, but I know that there's several that I was listening to and kind of what went off from there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's other bands that sprung out of Jane's Addiction.
Yeah, there are other bands that sprang out of Jane's Addiction, but the thought I would spin off on is that the timeline of Jane's Addiction hitting my earwaves, I just made that up, earwaves.
Uh-huh.
Come on, you got a kick out of that. Was when I was still, going to clubs with some regularity and what have you. So, songs like Been Caught Stealing and Jane Says were playing not only in music clubs that I was going to, but they were playing in, it was being played in bars and in dance clubs.
Yeah.
Like, it was a weird thing to hear a band
the crossover.
Because they were Dave Navarro, and they're like a rock alternative band, right? They're like, Red Hot Chili Peppers-ish kind of thing.
Sure.
You wouldn't have thought, but for some reason, the catchiness of a lot of their tunes had them being played in weird places just because.
Oddly enough, it's like, I'm hearing Jane said, like you said, walking through Walmart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I find that kind of strange because.
Right. Because, the reality is in the fullness of all their songs, they're a pretty edgy band.
Absolutely.
And Jane Says is pretty kind of edgy subject matter.
And maybe more so for that time than this, but.
Right. So that's kind of funky. But yes, love the Jane's Addiction thing. Big fan of Jane's Addiction. And now I want to hear the songs. For
me personally, Lenny Kravitz, Kool and the Gang, those two, there's a bunch of stuff there. Maybe more so Kool and the Gang than Lenny Kravitz for me.
Yeah. But I'm not as familiar with Kool and the Gang's catalog.
Well, I'm more of an R&B kind of guy.
You do hit.
But there's just so much there, and obviously there are several other artists that are being nominated, considered for induction, that we're less familiar with, or maybe it's not right up in our wheelhouse or whatever.
Right.
Ozzy. I just happened to be watching some video last night of him when it was Black Sabbath, and never having seen them live, I had no idea of the amount of energy that he brings to the stage. just blew me away, really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, you know, the other artists that we're not specifically getting into, we're not in any way dissing them. We're just, they're not in our wheelhouse, maybe.
Right. But, if you have input or what have you on some of these artists we haven't really delved into, if there's an important fact, some impact that we're not aware they had, that kind of thing, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, make a comment on your platform, your podcast platform, or go to the website and make a comment and let us know, because we are, stupid.
Right. We're just a couple apes.
And always up for, being educated.
Yeah. Always into the interaction. Like, it's most thrilling to know that we're talking about stuff and of interest to our audience. I'm going to use the word audience. It sounds very big shotty. But that get enough to engage you. Like, if you want to be part of the conversation, that's the most exciting thing I can imagine.
We'd really like to get to the point where we can actually do the live streaming thing, but with 6 listeners, and I'm kidding, there's much more than 6. But
right.
It's
just getting started.
Yeah. We'd love to be able to talk to you about this stuff. But if you have thoughts on this, and we're certainly not by any means really knowledgeable, so I'm sure there are a bunch of folks who have thoughts that are well beyond anything we came up with.
Sure, absolutely.
Please feel free to share it.
And again, while we're on the subject of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the nominees and the voters' window to vote being open until we think April 25th-ish or something.
Around there within a couple of days of that.
Check it out and vote for who you want to vote for.
Yeah, if it's your thing, get in there and take a look.
Right. Go vote for the people and make sure they get, as far as I'm concerned, everybody on the list should put them all in. You know what I mean?
Who are you going to remove would be the question, right?
Right. I wouldn't pull any of those groups out of there. You know what I mean? Or any of those artists, I guess is the appropriate word. Anyway.
So I think we're going to wrap up our discussion about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We beat that to death, didn't we? Good job, Race.
Yeah. Oh, it's my fault, of course. And I think we're going to probably move into a segment of Prime Cuts here shortly.
Prime Cuts coming up, so hang in there, and we'll have some fun with that. All right, so let's get started with Prime Cuts, baby. And let's make something real of this, shall we?
I think
no more of this goofing around.
I'm prepared.
A couple of amateurs.
I actually have a clue here.
You came with a clue?
I came with a clue, and you should...
You're not clueless?
Well, I am absolutely clueless. There's no question about that. But I'm going to suggest that you should know this song.
Oh, thank you. I'll say right now, the clue I've been given is I've been a bad, bad girl.
And I want you to know that I picked that especially just to hear you say those words.
I won't say it the way it just flashed into my head to say it. I've been careless with a delicate man.
That is correct, sir.
It's a sad, sad world when a girl can break a boy just because she can. And right now, that's Shadowboxer. I know the song, and I definitely... it's Fiona Apple. It's Shadowboxer, isn't it? No, wait.
Tick-tock. You know the lyrics.
What is the name of the song? My mind is running up to the chorus, but it won't jump ahead.
It's playing the song in real time.
I can't.
Criminal.
Good Lord. My brain was playing it.
Sure.
At the regular speed. And I couldn't not fast forward.
At the regular speed.
It was like I couldn't fast forward to the chorus and get to the...
Yeah, Criminal.
Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple. And I know that you're a fan. That's kind of why I picked that.
I am a Fiona Apple.
And again, just to hear you say, I've been a bad, bad girl.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who are Fiona Apple wannabe fans, as I have to say, I kind of am, because I have a couple albums that are from, when she really hit the scene. And then I've touched in with her doings over the past too many years to recognize comfortably. And she has actually had some really cool other stuff, especially in the past, I would say, I'm going to say 5 years. Okay. She's had some really cool stuff come out that is worth going to check out. So don't give up on Fiona Apple, because she didn't give up on you.
Okay, then. 1997 was when that came out. Title was the name of the album.
Yes.
She is the author, the writer of the song.
So fantastic. She was right there with Tori Amos.
Same era.
Same sort of era.
Absolutely.
And Tori also really, really
great.
Cool.
Both have great voices. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of either one of their
Yeah.
Stylings, just because it's not necessarily my thing. I think it's like a lot of artists. There's a song or two
Yeah.
that I'm like, oh, I really like that. Let's listen to that.
That title album, I've got that still, and it's just back to back really good. Some of our other stuff, I can't think of the name of the other album I have, is also, just every song. It's great.
All right.
Okay, you ready? It's me,
you. Go,
and
go.
Here's what you get, friend.
Should I know this song?
You should know this song, Race.
You'll never find, no matter where you search, someone who cares about you the way I do. Okay, that's familiar. Can I have my second clue, please?
You may have.
Well, I'm not bragging on myself, baby, but I'm the only one who loves you. You'll never find.
There's no one else.
You'll never find, no matter where you search, someone who loves you the way I do. Man, that sounds so familiar.
I was wondering if this was going to catch you. When it's a reach back, I'll admit. So
time wise, you mean?
Timeline wise. So
the no matter where you search thing has got my attention because the rest of the lyrics are fairly generic.
Probably the "You'll Never Find" is what's going to catch your attention.
You'll never
Lou
find.
Rawls. There you go, Lou Rawls.
Give me a chance to do the thing, will you?
Oh yeah.
I was just about to be there. I'm going to say I got that one.
You did. You did right as I was. As I was pulling it back and saying Lou Rawls.
Pull it back.
You were doing the "You'll Never Find." That was Lou Rawls, of course, the artist, written by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, from 1976 on the albums "All Things in Time."
I don't know that that's a anywhere near rock and roll, but like we were talking earlier.
Well, Lou Rawls did some.
Lou Rawls
cool
has
stuff.
one of those voices, man.
Yeah, super
Absolutely.
identifiable. Super, and such a great voice to listen to. So it is a little probably ahead of the era, but that song is in 19.
Era.
Well, no, it's not ahead of the era. You're right. 1976. That's not ahead of the.
No, and he was already very well established by then.
It's kind of adult contemporary.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's where I would have put it.
But he has some songs that are squarely under the rock and roll.
I can hear the whole thing.
Yeah.
You'll never
and
find.
the no one else. The sort of crescendo to the lyrics before the It's
good
pretty
stuff.
hard hitting.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I like his voice a whole lot.
Great song.
I just would not have expected that to be in this particular venue.
Well, we do occasionally drift.
We do, and I'm not.
I had plugged that into my list weeks ago, and I did question am I doing this?
Am I going to get this one?
Am I doing Lou Rawls? And I was like, he knows Lou Rawls. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So I left it in there. Okay, I think it's you, and
it is me.
You have to tell me whether or not I'm responsible.
You should know this song.
I am responsible to know this song. The lyric is, your legs are strong and you're so long, and you don't come from this town.
Very nice. Well,
Love and Rockets, I'm Alive.
Not I'm Alive. That's not the...
Oh, wait. Nope.
All right, So Alive.
So Alive. Love and Rockets. Not really I don't know if they were a one-hit wonder. Do you?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I wanted to. It reminds me that the other day, whenever skimming through some of these things, a lot of the clues are bands that are like 1.5 hit wonders, and I wanted to do an episode on 1.5.
I have an actual one-hit wonder in this list. If you want to, we can do that
We could do that. We could do one-hit wonders, but I also wanted to do.
No. I mean, because it'll be coming up shortly, is what I mean.
Oh, okay. The thought of do the one-hit wonder and then give me their other song that was kind of a hit would be fun. There's a lot of bands like that out there who have
that would be a lot of dead air, brother.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a lot of wait a minute.
Yes. So Love and Rockets, 1989. Daniel Ash, David Haskins, Kevin Haskins are the songwriters on that.
Nice. That was a cool song. Heard it the other day. And actually I have it on my list, not for today, but I have it on my list for future episodes, so now I'm going to have to scrap that. Thanks a lot, Reese.
You're welcome. Anything I can do.
For harshing my buzz. It's my turn.
It's your turn. Should I know this song?
You should know this song.
Okay. Some days won't end ever, and some days pass right by.
Yeah, you want another one?
I want another one. I've been working here forever, I'll be working here forever, at least until I die. Some days won't end ever, and some days pass right by. I know this song. Why is it not coming? Some days.
I'll say it's a pop rock song. might help.
Sure. No, I'm gonna say I don't know it.
All right.
What do you got?
It is Working for a Living.
I'm
by
taking what
Huey
they're
Lewis.
giving. Oh no, okay, so it's the wrong working for. It's a different working for a living because when you said working for a living, I'm taking what they're giving because I'm working for a living.
Taking what they're giving because I'm working for a living. Huey Lewis and the News.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Why am I thinking that there was a late 50s, early 60s tune?
Well, I'm sure there are other songs probably with similar lyrics.
We're taking what they're giving. I'll have to address
it was
that.
written Bill Gibson, Christopher John Hayes, Huey Lewis, John Victor Cola, Mario Cipollina, Sean Thomas Hopper. I believe that's Huey Lewis.
The entirety of the band. That's the News as well as Huey Lewis.
So those are the songwriters. So
Right.
it's not a cover.
Right. I gotcha.
1982. Picture This is the album. But yeah, I don't know of another song specifically with those words in that sort of
I think you're probably right. I'm hearing it again, and for some reason I'm tying it up with something like
working on a coal mine,
summertime blues era stuff.
Working at the car wash.
Okay. Stop. You're fired again. That's 3 times today, by the way.
I'm a repeat fire.
And Huey Lewis, there's a guy that kind of gets abused a little bit, misused in the rock and roll.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't really know, but I got the impression, especially when he was sort of at his zenith, if that's not too cheesy of a word to call, that he wasn't maybe taken seriously because the music was very poppy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this song is a kind of harkens back to like a 50s bopper song. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's where I was going.
No, I can totally see how you would, your mind would jump back there. And a lot of his songs did, you know what I mean? A lot of them were in that, had that feel.
Right.
But they were pop, very pop radio.
Sure. But here's the thing again, it's like, look at the longevity, okay? There were several years that, that 4 or 5 albums in a row that all had hits on them.
Yeah.
You got to give them that, whether
Yeah, the number of hits and they're enjoyable songs. It's like you were talking about with the Paula Abdul thing the other day when you heard it in the bar. You can't help but sort of
kind of makes you want to go.
Right. Get into it a little bit. So I have a little mixed thing with Huey Lewis and the News there because I like the music when it's playing. I like the music. I don't necessarily go seek it out, but man, I think it's good music, and it was. And there's a lot of stories around Huey Lewis. The Ghostbusters theme song with Ray Parker Jr. and the fact that Ray Parker took off of Huey Lewis's music and the court approved, agreed that Ray Parker had
stolen,
plagiarized, I guess is the word, isn't
Sure.
it right? Is a reference to the fact that Huey Lewis and the News were able to make some pretty nice, sounds.
Something that people stole.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
People
it
wanted.
worked on another giant hit when somebody had, took.
All right, you said 82?
1982.
That's earlier than I would have given it credit for, obviously, but we do that all the time. So
do we ever give credit for something being later?
I doubt it.
Have we ever done that? Oh, that was more recent than I thought it was.
So I got one here for you.
Your turn.
You should know this song.
My gal is red hot. Your gal ain't doodly squat.
There you go. So what can you tell me about that?
Now, I know this song, and I know this from, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, is it like, now the band just
jumped out of your head?
Peter Wolf. And
that's Jay Giles. That's what you're thinking of.
Jay Giles, right. Jay Giles Band. Did a cover. I know it from a cover.
If they did it as a cover, I didn't catch that. Okay.
I'm not sure that it was Jay Giles, but that's what comes to mind. But I know it as a cover.
Sure. No, I know it as the original.
I can't tell you who the original was.
Billy Lee Riley and the Little Green Men.
Yeah. Although, if you ever heard that once, it seems like it would stick in your head.
And written by Billy, not Billy Lee Riley, but Billy the Kid, in quotes, in his biography.
The Kid?
Emerson. Billy the Kid Emerson in 1957.
Wow.
We need to know who does the cover, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We got to look that up.
That's going to be whatever would have prompted it to come to mind.
Come to my mind, right?
Exactly.
And I want to know how they got away in that time frame with using the phrase "doodly squat" in a song, because we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Right. Then and now it meant one thing.
Right.
Steaming pile of
doodly squat.
Doodly squat.
Exactly.
So how'd they get away with that on the radio?
I don't know, but I heard that the other day, and I was like, oh, I have to bring that one to it.
Yeah, that's a cool song too. Fun 50s bebop doo-wop, kind of doo-wop. Yeah. Okay, so it's my turn. Here we go. You should know this song.
You can't stop it. You can't stop it.
It's not. You can't stop it.
You can't stop. You can't stop.
This is a typo. The N is not supposed to be there. I don't know how it got in.
You can't stop. You can't stop. You can't stop. Love in Action. It's,
hey, I didn't know if you get it right off the bat.
Hody Do. Who is it?
Oh, you know who it is.
Todd. But I don't know if it's him or if it's one of the other iterations of the band.
It's Mod Todd.
It's just Todd. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's got to be early 80s, right?
Love in Action. 1977. Very
77.
Close. Very close. Love in Action off the album.
I actually got one for a change.
You got one.
I haven't been hitting them lately.
Oops, Wrong Planet is the album. And Todd Rundgren wrote it, of course. And I love that song. Don't you love that song?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty much a fan of all of the...
let's stop the show and go ahead and listen to the song.
Of all of the Todd. I like all the Todd.
Pretty much a Todd guy. You are a Todd Rundgren fan. I know
am.
that. So I was really glad that you got that because I wasn't sure if just you can't stop, you can't stop.
You can't stop.
And my second clue was you can't stop, you can't stop.
I never got that.
because
he says it 6 times.
Says it right, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, well, I've got one here. You should know this song.
Okay, my lyric is, this is real, this is now. Yeah, I know this. Give me a second one. This is real, this is now. This is a freak show, baby, anyhow. This is a freak show, baby, anyhow.
It's actually only once. That's a technical glitch there.
This is a freak show, baby, anyhow.
So,
this is real. This is now. This is a freak show, baby, anyhow. I do know this song, but it is not coming to mind. Yeah. I'm not going to get it. I can't actually hear it, but I know
the band is called The Men.
The Men.
And they, by the way, weren't all men.
That's an interesting tidbit.
The song is called Church of Logic, Sin, and Love. And then they came upon the thing. You know that song?
Yeah.
That's this song.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a song that for some reason has a residency in my head occasionally.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the thing. I went to
Is that 70s?
I got to tell you, it took a lot of work just to find out that it was 1991.
91?
I can't find the name of the writers.
Really?
I couldn't track it down.
Huh.
And I spent a few minutes on it. My assumption is it's written by the people that are in the Men.
Yeah.
I could only find the name of one guy. There's no Wikipedia on it. The song itself gets referenced in another Wikipedia article, but there's no Wikipedia on it.
Right.
I can find the song, like a video of it, and I can find the lyrics on the web, but I can't find any writing credits. I mean, I spent 5 minutes on this.
That's so cool. Kind of.
And this is
like a mystery.
This is your one-hit wonder. They there's nothing else that they did that. I believe there's only the one album that I could find.
Right. They may not have even known that it was a hit.
They'd moved on. Went back to work at the factory.
Exactly.
So yeah, but and then they came upon the thing.
Yeah.
It's the catch, the hook lyric, right?
Right.
You know.
That's great. I haven't.
And the lyrics are essentially he's talking in the third person about two people that said essentially, fuck it, we're out of here. We're giving up on life. We're just gonna go travel around and dig shit.
Right.
You know?
It's gonna be vagabondy.
Yeah.
Very cool. I will go listen to that song again because I haven't thought of it in a very long time, and it's a cool song. But you couldn't find a. That's so great. Couldn't find a writer. Couldn't find real.
And again, I spent more than a minute on
research. There you go. We could embellish a wiki page if we can dig up some info.
All right.
And wiki page and Wikipedia, great stuff. Brief pause to shout out to Wiki, support Wiki, donate to Wiki because not just for our foolish purposes, lots of important purposes.
And I know you know this. Does the rest of the world know? What is Wiki?
I don't.
You don't know this?
I don't think I know.
What I know is.
No, I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, Wiki stands for what I know is. Yeah.
That's great.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Wow, I'm embarrassed.
You should be. That, especially with all of your constant
whining about Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I never even.
And by the way, you're the only person that I know that says Wiki as opposed to Wiki. Wikipedia is Wikipedia is how everyone else says it. It's not how it's spelled, but you're the only person who actually says
pronounces it phonetically.
And the thing is before there was Wikipedia, there were wiki pages.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay,
I remember talking about doing a wiki page, in the office, at work, here and there, whatever, and we would do them.
Yeah, and they were called wikis, like that was a deal, right? It's like,
but I don't remember
what I know is
overhearing or whatever.
Wow.
Which is funny because my brain, I think at least, has a tendency to go like, why is that?
Why is that?
And I never searched that out. I never looked for why that is. That's funny. Now I question everything about my existence.
I would agree.
Okay, you should know this song. You ready?
And it is. She said, maybe it's the skeevy look in your eyes. I like that line. Or that your mind is turned to applesauce. I don't know what this is, but I want to know.
This is so sweet. This is just so sweet if it works out.
Maybe it's the skeevy look in your eyes, or that your mind is turned to applesauce. The dreary architecture of...
Okay,
the dreary architecture of your soul, I said, but what is it exactly turns you off? What the hell is this? I'll read it through once. Maybe it's the skeevy look in your eyes, or that your mind is turned to applesauce. The dreary architecture of your soul. I said, but what is it exactly turns you off? It sounds like Zappa lyrics.
Oh, not quite, but kind of close in a way. You're gonna kick yourself.
I wouldn't be.
But I'm giving myself a pat on the back because I did not think I would be able to get you on one of these. Cousin Dupree from Steely Dan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, off of Two Against Nature from 2000. Do you know the song?
Vaguely. I mean,
Really?
I know the Two Against Nature, but that's also that's the later Steely Dan stuff.
Yeah, it is later. 2000. It's only 24 years ago.
Yes, but it was probably several years between that and the album previous to it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I love that song. I mean, I've always dug the song.
I'm going to have to go look that up.
One of those that takes up residency in my head every once in a while.
Absolutely.
But I was like, this, because I dig the song so much, I was like,
he's going to know this.
this is going to be fun for him to get. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of sorry you didn't get it, but I'm kind of excited because I didn't think I would ever trip you up on a Steely Dan tune.
Well, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
That's pretty cool.
So that's 2000, you said?
2000, yeah.
And
Two Against
Becker
Nature, Becker and Fagan wrote it under the Steely Dan
Well, I should
moniker.
be probably...
fired. You're fired for the first time this show.
I'm going to say I should probably be beaten or flogged or something appropriate to that.
I'm not doing the violence thing today. You're into the stabbing thing. I'm not doing.
I've been stabby all week.
But I will do the terminating.
I think you should know this song, though.
I should know this song. It's your turn, and I get. Oh, she may be weary. Them young girls, they do get wearied. That one's not ringing any bells.
Oh, baby. I can tell you that there are a half a dozen people out there in the world right now saying, read the name of this song. Is it? Yes.
Wearing that same old shaggy dress. Yeah. I'm probably embarrassed that this song is not ringing a bell with me.
All right, so give me the whole lyric here. Read it out.
Oh, she may be weary. Them young girls, they do get wearied. Wearing that same old shaggy dress. Yeah. It's not fitting.
Nothing, huh? Oh, I'm
not hearing like
I feel better about the Cousin Dupree thing now.
If this is something obvious, I'm just gonna I'm gonna do what I do.
I'm gonna say it's Otis Redding.
Okay.
Nothing still.
Not ringing a bell. What's the song?
Try a Little Tenderness.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I should know that song.
You should know that song.
I really should know that song.
That's written by Jimmy Campbell, Reg Connolly, and Harry M. Woods.
Yeah, what year is that?
1966, but that song's been played so much throughout history.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's actually a really cool...
And I thought you were going to say it's older than that, so it is kind of the first song for me that I've been like, hey, that's newer than I thought. So.
There you go. There's a movie called Duets. Huey Lewis, by the way, is in it.
Yeah, okay. I remember that movie vaguely.
But Paul Giamatti and Andre Braugher... Mm-hmm. And the movie Duets, it's
who
about...
just passed away recently, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely. The movie Duets is several different vignettes of people that sing karaoke. And throughout the course of the movie, something throws Paul Giamatti and Andre Braugher together.
Right.
And they're both in a bad way, in trouble with the law, that kind of thing.
Down in their luck, etc.
Yeah, and they stop into this bar somewhere where there's a karaoke thing going on. And Paul Giamatti talks Andre Braugher into getting up on stage doing it.
Right.
And they do a version of this. And Paul Giamatti actually sings his part. And Andre Braugher is covered by some very well-known, and I guess I brought it up and I don't know.
Right.
Some very well-known
vocalist
from R&B.
Right.
but it's phenomenal. It's amazing to watch them doing this. And it's
the scene is. I mean, is the movie good overall?
The movie is okay. It's
kind of a cheesy premise. It's kind of probably hard to pull off.
Like this, but the segments between them, I really enjoyed. The rest of the movie, I could take or leave.
Right.
But I mean, I love Paul Giamatti and Andrea Brauer. Those are two really good actors.
Right.
And they do this thing. They do Try a Little Tenderness. And if you haven't seen it, you can go find that on YouTube by itself.
Oh no, I'll be checking.
You don't have to watch the movie.
Sure.
You can just find that, and it's fucking cool. It really is.
I will check that out.
So 1966, and I gave you the writers, right? The original album was Complete and Unbelievable: The Otis Redding Dictionary of Soul, which I think is a great name for an album, and especially an Otis Redding album.
Is that a greatest hits?
I think it might be.
It sounds
a posthumous everything.
Yeah.
And then check this out: backing band for Otis Redding.
Oh,
Booker T, MGs. Just hanging out.
I was just yesterday thinking about Booker T and the MGs.
And I'm going to one step farther for you. One house producer for the label arranged it for him. Somebody you might have heard of, Isaac Hayes. It's like no wonder it's a phenomenal song, and it's not just Otis Redding that makes it that way, right?
Right. The recipe was full of the best ingredients you can imagine.
So I got you on that one. I am really very pleased with myself, and that doesn't happen very often.
I'm going to have to go and check out that video too.
Oh, absolutely.
And I am more than a little ashamed I didn't know that. Yeah, that did not come to me. Okay, it's my turn.
Okay.
You should know this song.
And I'll pull your crooked teeth. It sounds like something I would say.
This is
doesn't it?
You're watching or I'll pull your crooked teeth.
That's right. No, I don't know that.
This is an alternative rock band, but a little more recent. So might be on the more late edge of alternative music.
So you're saying something that I'm not going to catch because
maybe I don't know. I thought it might. I thought it might have a good chance.
It was just a nice way of you being really mean to me. That was what that was.
Okay, second lyric. Here you go.
You'll be perfect just like me. So I'll pull your crooked teeth. You'll be perfect just like me. I don't know. What is this?
Do you know Smashing Pumpkins much at all?
Yeah. Some, but not all of it.
So it's Ava Adore, We Must Never Be Apart. Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. I mean, I could have told you that Billy Corgan was the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh,
and the majority of writes the majority of the stuff. I would have known that much.
1998, off of the album Adore, and I just love that song. I mean, I'm
going to have to find that now. Oh, by the way, I did listen to a couple of things that you had brought to my attention. We talked recently about I'm All Right, Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
I went back and...
Which your sister hates.
Which my sister hates. She doesn't hate Kenny Loggins, but she hates that song.
Hates that song, I know.
Yeah. But somehow she's a huge Eddie Money fan, and she knows that he's in it.
Yeah.
But I actually asked her about watching the video, and she's like, I'm not watching that. I'm like, why? I can't stand that song. It's one of those songs that just... And I'm like, but you like Kenny Loggins sometimes, you know? So,
yeah.
Anyway, I went back and listened to it in its entirety because when you were speaking, you were saying the way the song is constructed, it doesn't get enough credit, blah, blah, blah. So I actually went back and listened to it. And while it's not something that I would regularly seek out, it is very well done, very well produced, and there are like 16 different great names on the in the background. So
yeah, it's very well put together, and to me, again, creatively put together.
Yes.
Piece of music for sure.
Yes.
And the only Kenny Loggins song that I'm really not that I would really trash is Danger Zone because of the extreme overplay of the song from Top Gun, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't even have reference to whether it's actually a good song or bad musically anymore. You
can't stand to hear it anymore.
Kind of hope I don't have
kind of like
a
Freebird for me.
Kind of just hope.
Doesn't matter how great the guitar solo is. I've just heard.
There are plenty of other good songs of his to play. Please play those.
Sure.
You know, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, so I'm glad to hear you went and listened to that.
Yes. We covered the singer. I mean, rather the songwriter for your.
We did. Billy Corgan.
I don't want to leave anything hanging.
Billy Corgan, songwriter, 1998 release by the Smashing Pumpkins. So we did that stuff. We did our formalities.
Okay, well, I'm going to move on to the next clue here for you.
Time for you to try to trip me up.
You should definitely know this song.
The children woke up and they couldn't find them is the lyric I have. The children woke up and they couldn't find them. This is resonating. Yeah.
You want to share the lyric?
Left before the sun came up that day. Is it the children woke up? This is Where Were They Going Without Ever Knowing the Way?
That's the song.
And the band is, oh my gosh, it's right there. I keep wanting to say the outfield. It's a
Oh, you're in the right neighborhood.
play on that. I know, but the outfield keeps slicing in front of my brain. What's the name of the band?
Fastball.
Fastball. Shit.
And the song is called The Way.
Yes.
And the reason that we heard that one in particular, or that we shared that one in particular, is because that one and the one by the Men before it, those two songs are tied together forever in my mind. And they're a couple of years apart, but they were played on the same radio station, or I heard them somewhere at the same time.
They're not associated like you read some factoids on Wikipedia.
No.
They're just in your in your mental playlist.
Yes, they belong. Like they get played one after the other.
When the DJ sets up to play one, he plays the other shortly after.
Son of a bitch, by the way, that DJ that just. So anyway, that was the band was Fastballs. Tony Scalzo wrote the song in 1997, which is 6 years after the one by the Men. So they're not close at all.
Not too far off.
Cool album name. All the Pain Money Can Buy.
Yeah, I love that name.
So
there are some really good songs on that album too, and
I'm going to say you got that one, even though you couldn't come up with any information. You recognize the song,
and the name. I want to say it would have come to me. I was in. Are you ready?
I'm listening.
The Ballpark.
I almost said that when I said you're in the same neighborhood. So, oh God, yeah.
But that song is very cool. Also,
cue the John Fogerty song.
Yes. Exactly. Put me in, coach.
What do you got for me?
Okay, Race of Apes, you should know this song.
A tournament of lies.
Okay, this is a fast-paced song. Go. I'll only give you that. Here's the next clue.
Offer me solutions, offer me alternatives, and I decline. I obviously know this song.
You do?
Yeah. Okay. This is REM.
Yeah.
The End of the World as We Know It.
That's
and
right.
He Feels Fine.
That's right. He feels fine. That's right. REM from 1987 off of Document, End of the World as We Know It.
This is a song that no matter where I am when it comes on, I sing along at max volume. And if I'm in my car, just be glad if you're not in the car with me.
Right.
And every time when he says, right. I look at the person sitting next to me, even if there's no one sitting there.
Even if there's nobody there,
yes.
You look at the empty seat.
Every single time.
And say, right?
Yes. Offer me these solutions, offer me alternatives, and I decline. Yes.
Okay, so written by all the people from REM.
The Michaels.
Michael Stipe, Michael Mills, Peter Lawrence, Buck, William Thomas Berry. Fantastic song that still resonates.
That is
still
a blast
played,
of a song.
But one of the few REM songs deserving of still being played that is still played.
You're saying that they
don't get enough airplay. You know what I mean? There isn't room on the airwaves for everybody streaming and all that stuff.
Right. But were you saying essentially that like they were a product of their time? Is what that sounded like to me, musically?
No, I'm saying that their music holds up and they should be getting more airplay. Like they should be. You should hear them more frequently. I
hear. Again, maybe it's satellite radio.
Difference in what you're listening to.
But I hear plenty of REM.
Oh, okay.
Not as in too much, but I mean...
Well, the only other REM song I hear with any regularity is Everybody Hurts, which, great song, all respect to it, heard enough. And there are lots of other cool REM songs that should get some space. But that's me gushing over REM, and, they're like right at the heart of alternative music.
Well, I mean, that whole scene to come out of Athens, Georgia in what, 19... I'm probably going to be wrong. I'm going to go say 77, 78. It's probably prior to that.
Yeah, this was 87, so probably
but it's them and B-52, B-52s.
Right.
There were several bands, and who produced a lot of that was Todd Rundgren.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Which
is cool.
Very cool.
All cool.
All right, I've got one that I think I'm going to get you on. I think you should know this song, but you may not.
Two men say they're Jesus, one of them must be wrong. I do know this song. Oh no, I'm not going to guess it. I can tell. Give me another clue. There's a protest singer. He's singing a protest song. Yeah. Oh, the melody is just starting to come into my head. Oh, it's hurt. It's actually causing me physical pain.
Well, that's too bad, man. I can call a doctor if you like.
There's a protest singer. He's singing a protest song. It's going to take too long. What is it?
Okay, so it's Industrial Disease.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
By Dire Straits.
Yeah.
I did get you on that.
Haven't heard that song in a long time.
Yeah,
but
I heard it recently.
You did get me on that.
Mark Knopfler, 1982. Love Over Gold.
Got a
name of the album.
Big smile on my face thinking about that song now.
Oh, that's a great tune, and that's actually, like, as is most of their stuff, a great album.
Yeah.
The thing where I just said I got you on that one made me think of something. My sister recently referenced the fact, asked me why we don't keep score.
Oh.
And I mentioned to her that we did early on.
Yeah, we did try for a second.
And aside from it being something that's just more stuff to deal with during the episode, it also just didn't seem the thing. Because
it's kind of not in the spirit of
right, it's not really, because it's as much about the sharing as it is about the getting. But I think the thing is between the both of us, sometimes when we get one, like when you got me with the Steely Dan one, like it feels pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
right?
It does. Right. When you get a gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, because usually if you gotcha the other person, it is a song that they're familiar with. Right. And as is probably if I were going to name the thing at the core of this effort that excites me to think we might pull off, it's triggering somebody to go anywhere, and in the instance of between you and I right here at the table, to think, I'm going to go listen to that now. I haven't heard, I know that, I haven't heard it in a while, or I used to love that song, or whatever it is. But if this causes people to go listen to something and enjoy it,
sure,
that's the
deal.
Essence of what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get a kick out of, hanging out with you and so on and so forth. But like really, we could sit and hang out and have a beer
and not have to go through all the recording.
Not have to go through all this. This is because I really hope that somebody else out there, some other people out there are like, oh yeah, that's a great song. I am going to write a note right now and I'm going to go listen to that when the show's over, because that's what it's all about.
Well, and we got a comment a while back from my daughter-in-law in Wisconsin, who said we were talking about our favorite live albums, and it cued her to go and find a live album in her collection that she hadn't heard in a while.
Right.
And it's essentially, she sent me a text that said, hey, I did these 3 things after I listened to you guys today.
Right.
Because you made me think about it. I listened to this album and this album. I went and found this because you guys were talking about it. I went
and enjoyed this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm so glad that it like triggered you to enjoy yourself. You know what I mean?
And it's pretty easy these days with the super accessibility of station formatted like music type streaming.
Sure.
To not think about, you
get stuck in your lane.
Not have a little time to go, what song would I kind of like to listen to, or think about some songs. You can turn it on and it's just going for you with a genre,
sure,
or a particular sound.
So I'm gonna old man you right here, okay?
Yeah.
So we're about the same age, within a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
And so a big deal when I was 15, 16, 17 was me and 4 or 5 guys getting together and like each of us in our turn, picking an album.
Oh.
Literally dropping the needle, physically, or placing the needle, more accurately, on the turntable, on the album.
After you disc washed it properly.
Yes,
and so
okay.
On and so forth,
and that thing, and you, we all know that songs 1, 2, and 3 on this album, but we're going to listen to 1 and 3, and then we're going to listen to song 1 on the other side, and then that cues the next guy to go like, oh, what we got to hear next.
Right.
Okay, and like that was how, aside from illegal drugs, that was
illegal at the time,
along with illegal drugs, the ones that are now legal. Yes, exactly.
Right.
That was how we spent our time. That was literally what we did for entertainment.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that was the variety. And while that can happen when you're sitting in a group with music, more frequently what I see is someone puts on quote unquote this Led Zeppelin station, that's being curated by the algorithms because of what you've played previously, right? And it's I'm not saying it's a better or worse at all. It's just different. And you have to have the same dedication to making the changes in the algorithm as you had to changing the albums at the time.
And to maybe oversimplify what you're saying, what jumped to mind listening to that is, yes, we used to do very similar thing, and the requirement to put on an album, to put on a particular artist's, it's called an album no matter what, CD or otherwise, to put on one artist's thing and pick a few songs out of it is an active, You're
Right.
actively
As opposed
participating
to the algorithm making it passive.
Right, as opposed to passive listening, and that can be easy to slip into.
Sure.
And there is, I've also talked to a couple of people in the past few weeks who have listened to the show, and they have stated how it sort of reminded them, and this is really the core of what I think was being said.
The crux of the biscuit?
Crux of the biscuit, right. After an apostrophe, they would say, essentially that in a nutshell.
Thank you for the reference, the throwback. Thank you.
In a nutshell, they are saying the show does remind me that I used to more actively choose what I was listening to and think about, oh, there's that song off the back side of the album or whatever. I used to be more involved in actively choosing what I'm listening to instead of, hitting the algorithm and letting it. I do agree that there is a balance.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, that both are valid, but I think that obviously the easier thing to slip into is just letting the algorithm choose for you.
Well, and the beauty of the digital interface is that you have access to so much more.
Yeah.
My brother had 1,800 albums.
Right.
I probably had at the max, and I don't have hardly any real media anymore. I probably had about 350 or 400 albums and maybe 150 CDs.
Right.
Okay. As big of numbers as those are, that's a really limited selection.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
that is a sliver.
If you pay close attention to the streaming services that you use and you actually interface with them, and God, that sounds like I hate that word. If you actually use the interface and do the stuff that you need to do, you can get so much that I didn't have access to in a physical vinyl world.
Right. So. And some of that, to support that statement, some of that is evidence to me even when I go to, I'm very, very limited at the number of channels I use to stream, even going to YouTube Music, which I primarily use now. And I do go there somewhat actively because I have a song in my head. It's not something
to search something out.
Right. I'm like, oh, I remember that another song has triggered me to think of this song or whatever, just like you alluded to in that last challenge. And it's a song I haven't heard in a long time, and it's a back album track. You know what I mean? It's not one of his, but it's a song that I loved, right? That's what it's all about. So I can go to YouTube, and the cool thing about how much there is available on the web is not only will I get the track off of the album that I had, I can get an original scratchy record sounding track, or I can hear the cleaned up versions or a live version or whatever, and
or a remastered version or whatever.
Remastered. I can hear them all. I got them all right there. I can go, oh, I can listen to that version that I remember every scratch in the record.
Right. And
then I can also listen to that live version I only got to hear a couple times. So that's really cool to do. But again, it's active as opposed to passive.
So, all right. So we've gone beyond
over the mark,
beyond our limit not financially, time wise. I guess our meters run out is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And I think we probably ranted and raved well beyond the actual concept of the challenge we were involved in.
Yes.
But that, by the way, is what we do.
That's what show's here for. Hopefully
I'm going to say that we're at the end of that segment.
Yes.
I believe we are at the end of our 10th, can you believe, 10th episode.
10th episode.
I don't listen to us that much. How could anyone else, I guess? So, but
yeah, someday we're going to be sitting here going, wow, that episode was that long ago? It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Or someday we're going to be sitting here going, hey, you remember when we used to do a podcast? So
that's probably more likely. But,
absolutely. So at any rate, thank you all for listening to our long-winded BS. And today there was definitely some long-winded BS.
Absolutely.
Go out and check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stuff if you're so inclined.
Right.
I know it's not everybody's bag, but, there's some great music there. And there's some great artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is still, you can't deny that regardless of your position on it, they're still contributing to remembering and recognizing and...
Yes, maybe not as much as they could, but yes, absolutely.
These artists who are important in music. They're important in culture in a lot of ways. They're important in more things than that in a lot of ways. But
sure.
Certainly if you're a music bum, they're important. So,
and I'm a bum generally, and sometimes a music bum. So, but at any rate, thank you again for listening to us.
This is You Should Know This Song. We are Mixtapes, and I think we're out.
I think we're out for this episode. But we'll be back. Number 11's coming up.
Peace.